Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches, episode 152. Tonight we're reviewing Wonder Woman!
Wonder Woman! Oh, you never watched the TV show at all?
I never really watched any sort of superhero thing as a child.
Just putting it out there.
Didn't really bother.
Like, you know?
First things first,
Yeah.
Shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $20 off your first month of wine. This one's kind of fun because it's called One from the Quiver, which I thought was appropriate because they shoot a lot of arrows in the first 40 minutes of this movie.
During the best part of this movie.
Yep. Okay, so let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I have a lot of feelings.
I have a lot of feelings as well. I liked this movie. I thought this movie was way too long.
This movie was so fucking long. Spoilers, like, we're going to talk about all the spoilers.
Okay, part of what I really liked about this movie was that it focused on her as, like, a character and a human being. Yes! They spent all of this time of, like, the backstory.
Well,
and we really got to know her.
Did we?
I felt like I did.
I felt like she was a puppy. Like, she just had no personality for me.
What?
She was a fine actress, and she was like, I'm gonna save everyone, and I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of person. But, like, what was her personality?
Oh, I don't know. I so disagree. I thought she was the best part of this movie.
She wasn't bad, but my problem is Chris Pine was the lead in this movie.
Not at all.
His character made every decision. His character made all the decisions, dragged her through the movie. Yes.
No.
Yes, he gets to martyr himself at the end.
No,
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
Good, bye Chris Pine, go blow yourself up. I disagree.
He made every decision.
No,
He
but
pulled her through the plot.
Well,
I loved the first part. I wanted the whole damn movie to happen on that
Loved that.
island. Robin Wright is a goddess.
yes.
And the queen was her thigh work. I mean, all of her outfits were just exposed front thigh. And I was like, oh, I am living for this. I adored the first whenever they were on the island.
It was like a good amount of time, but I wasn't angry at it.
I'm serious. If Chris Pine had crashed and just stayed on the island for the next hour and a half that was this movie, and then they had to fight something, or he was the fish out of water and got to learn about their culture, and the whole cast is women and there's only one man. Love it. I would have been so into that.
I feel that. Like, it would have been fun to have him learn something from their culture but the problem is that it was like her special take of like her mom trying to hide her from everything, right? That kind of led her to have this like innate warriorness, but also this like focus on love and like humanity is innately good thing.
I wish they had pushed that further, and I really wish that some women had been in the second half, the second 2/3 of this film.
Aside from the fabulous British from the British office.
But she was like barely in it.
She was, but she was great.
She was barely in it.
I feel like we did not appreciate the same things in this film because I thought she was great. I thought Gal Gadot was literally, I came out of this movie and I was like, Baruch Gal Gadot.
No.
That's how much I loved her.
She did everything she could with what she was given. I just think I had wished that they would have focused on different things for her character. I wish there had been like a female nurse or like some Bletchley Circle ladies who were like cracking codes. Like there was no women at all for her to interact with.
Yes.
And because she literally has never met a man, it was just this weird place where it was like, now she's going to be with this ragtag group of like boring stereotypical men.
Yes.
Who cared? I wanted her to like teach the world about what women can do. Other than just be this invincible thing, which is great, and her fighting was really cool and all of that, but I wanted her to like teach them a lesson.
I'm here for that.
That
would have been like an actual feminist movie.
That's what I'm saying.
And here's what I'll say. I think this movie is getting way too much credit for being like a feminist movie.
It's like, oh, a woman directed it and it's starring a woman, so it must be feminist. And that's just not true.
No.
This movie, I'm glad it got made. I'm glad it's making a fuck ton of money. I hope it opens the door for a lot more female-centric action movies. Like, it did a lot of good.
Give me a Black Widow movie, please.
Baby steps. Baby steps, right? I just wish that as a whole, the movie had more of a feminist message instead of just, she's badass and fighting. Isn't that so, like, modern? I was like, not really.
Yes, she's a woman fighting and doing all these amazing things, but she's also a god.
Yeah.
So, like that takes it away a little bit. That's like, oh, if she was a normal woman, then yes, we would be right for being sexist and misogynist. But she's a god, so now that all makes sense.
Great. Well, it's just like every person she interacted with was just like, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever met. And it's just like, that was all she had going for her. And I was like,
oh, you're beautiful and you can kick people's asses? Oh.
I don't know. I wish they had brought the themes of the island to the modern world.
If she'd had some friends on the island that, like, went with her, you know, just a couple, maybe 2 friends.
They're not demigods, so they can just be, like, women.
Right, but they're badass warrior women who, like, shoot 4 arrows at a time. Poo, poo, poo.
I mean, I could talk about Robin Wright. She was everything. Like, I was so living for her. I did kind of wish that in, like, mythology, there's a whole thing about how Amazonians would cut off one of their boobs so they could aim their arrows better. Like, they would be even better marksmen. And I was like, oh, I wish that had just been, like, just here's this. There. And it would have freaked so many people out, and people would have asked so many questions, and so many men would have been like, oh my god, I'm paralyzed, there's only one tit. You know, it would have been, like, so fabulous. If Robin Wright was just like, yes, I'm the best, because I'm willing to do anything. That would have been rad. In the end, when she's, like, about to be defeated, and she's at her lowest point, and then she, like, thinks about love, and all she thinks about is Chris Pine, and not her mom, and the women, and Robin Wright, who sacrificed herself. And all that stuff, I was like, this is annoying.
When I watched it, I wasn't annoyed.
Okay.
I was just, like, having a good time. I was in it.
It's totally fun, popcorn, you know, whatever. But once you start to really, like, think about it, I was like,
And I get that. And I get a lot of, like, you know, I've read some of these pieces and stuff of, like, oh, this is not a feminist movie, or, like, oh, this is super great and it's the best thing, and I cried a million times in every fight, and I'm like, okay, both of you need to calm down.
Yes, it's not that, like, the thing is, it's not that great on either direction. Like,
no, it's not that serious.
It's just a pretty good, fun action movie that's breaking a little bit of the mold and, like,
just a little bit,
was entertaining.
Exactly.
Like, on a surface level, it was well made. It wasn't a total disaster like Batman vs. Superman. It was nowhere near. Like,
this was actually a good superhero
competent,
movie.
You know, like, it had a lot going on. I don't want to be like, I hated this. I just had a lot of problems with it.
No, I get that. There's, like, varying levels of feminism, I guess. And this film is, like, just stage 1. And, you know, okay, yes, it's a traditional love story where she falls in love with a man and like they have, and it's like, that's okay.
I just wish that he had maybe awoken a romantic love in her, but that she compiled all the love from all the people and all the women that she knew or maybe that she met along the way.
I agree.
And that it wasn't just like, oh, this man's, like, saved me.
Yeah.
Wholly.
I agree.
With his, you know,
bad haircut?
not average dick.
Oh.
Remember that? Yeah, in the first half of the movie, it was a lot of objectifying Chris Pine, and I was like, I'm here for this. Let's turn this on his head.
Sure.
Great. There's a whole scene where she stares at his dick. For a while.
That's right.
For a while.
He's
in that fabulous jacuzzi. And I was like,
yes.
She's supposed to have all this knowledge of history and have read all these books, and she speaks every language.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so she'd be the perfect spy. Oh, but when they're breaking into the German headquarters, they're not going to use her. Chris Pine's just going to have they're all going to be speaking English and just have a German accent? What was that choice? They should have been like, great, you speak fluent German in every dialect. You go be the spy. Like, I wanted her to be more in on the plan and be more useful than just being a shield.
Well, yes, that's fair.
That's all I was trying to say.
That is very fair. I would say she has her moments of being like, no, fuck you, I'm not going to do what you say.
There was a couple times where she was like, I'm going to do this anyway, but it was like she was a disobedient puppy. Like, she was like, I'm going in anyway. And you were like, okay, but you don't really have a plan, and I wish you did.
And, yeah, part of the problem with that is because they set up this whole thing where her mom shielded her, and so she didn't really know anything about the stuff that she was going into. I wish that, like, her mom had given her a sidekick and had said, look, this is the shit you gotta know if you're gonna go out into this, the world.
Yeah. Or had it been more balanced where Robin Wright taught her how to be a warrior, full on, which she did. And the mom had taught her how to think and feel and interpret the world and be a ruler and be a queen and know how to manipulate people. Like
that would have been.
And my only hope is that like when they make an inevitable sequel to this, she can't be as much of a fish out of water. Like
I think they have to have shut that down.
And so hopefully she'll be more fully formed and like just rad.
Well, I think so. It's interesting because they kind of set it up so that they can kind of go anywhere with it.
Right.
Because here she is in 2017 or whatever.
At the
with
Louvre.
like, yes.
In like a weapons archivist or something?
I don't even know.
But I was like, okay.
Right? But I also just I laughed out loud at the beginning when it's like, I found the original of this glass plate negative. So going back, why the fuck weren't they speaking German?
I couldn't.
Because they spoke in other languages with subtitles.
Yeah, it was. And why is Danny Houston the German? That didn't make any sense. And also, Chris Pine is like a really good spy. He should also be able to speak German.
Sure, absolutely.
They should have walked in.
Give me some allied
just like arm in arm, like, yeah, what's up?
I was so waiting for it when he's like, oh, they'll all be at the gala. And I was like, oh, good, so they're going to go together for this gala?
Fabulous gown on.
She's going to speak German to them and just be like, nope, didn't happen. I mean, she did have the fabulous gown on, but it was different. It was
more of a sheet. Can we talk about how she got that dress? Because I have a lot of questions. So there's like a line to get into the party, and this like, this like, she's sort of agitated German woman. It's like, oh, the line is too long. Gets out of her car and walks into the woods. Like, walks in away from where she's waiting in line. Was she gonna go take a pee? I don't know. It wasn't explained. Walks and finds Wonder Woman, and then it just cuts to Wonder Woman in her dress. Did she kill her? Did she leave her in the woods to die of exposure? Did the chief come and get her? Like, is she just naked in the woods? Like, I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know the answers, and it felt really weird that they didn't address them.
Also, I would love to know what's happening to Wonder Woman's, like, outfit.
It just is always under everything.
Right?
So Danny Houston, like, very aggressively just comes up and starts waltzing with her, and they've never met. And I was like, okay. Oh. And he's clearly holding her back. And I was like, I wanted him to be like, oh, is that a sword back there? You just happy to see me. I was like, why? You can. It's not her spine. It's like a piece of metal. It's like a sword, guys. It's like full on a sword.
Speaking of the Germans,
why
did it feel for me more like World War II than World War I?
For a long portion in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is World War II. Well, the funny thing is the original comic is in World War II too. So
I just didn't understand.
Maybe they wanted to like separate it from Captain America.
Well, I was going to say this really felt very Captain America-y.
I mean, they are like each other's counterparts.
Yes.
Actually, kind of. I mean, they're different universes, but
yeah.
It was very much the first Captain America movie. Like, morally, because she's so black and white and true and good and bad, it was really weird for me when she was just like, but I'm fully fine with just like murdering all of these German soldiers.
It was a little bizarre. It was confusing to be like, oh, I'm fully a warrior to go into battle, but I don't think anyone should die.
Yeah. That's what I mean, where you're like, who is she?
I guess it's just innocent people shouldn't die, the children and the,
Just women and children. They go to the front. And she's like, no, we can't just pass them by. We have the humanity of it all, And I wish that had been more of a theme of like her pure goodness brought out the goodness in others. And that didn't really happen.
Ooh,
just where like, I mean, it did in that moment, but then kind of, because they like followed her.
I didn't get that at all. I just got that they followed her because he was like, she's taking all the bullets. We can go behind her.
But like, I think the better choice would have been, her courage. I mean, again, everything is undercut because she's invincible, because she's Superman, because it's super boring, because she's just invincible and like nothing can kill her and it's like boring. But she goes into no man's land. It's no man's land. It's not no woman's land. Oh boy. And she gets up there and just starts walking towards all the Germans and they immediately start shooting at her. And I really thought like, I don't know, if I'm like a German and this like goddess is walking towards me, I might just be like, it just seemed odd to me that they immediately started just shooting everything at her. And then had she sort of like gotten to the front of their front, right, and talked to them in German and like found a peaceful accord and like whatever, I kind of would have been more into that. And that's more Wonder Woman-y. Like, let's use love to conquer this instead of like, I'm gonna kill all these people.
Well, I was just like, had it with this whole, I have to find Ares and kill Ares. I have to find Ares and kill Ares. I'm like, okay, we get it. But I do like this idea that if Ares is supposedly controlling all of these people and instilling them with badness,
right, he's
and
basically
hatred and anger,
the devil in everyone's ear, you
right,
know.
then why can't she be the good in everyone's ear, right? And like you just said, like basically spreading love and goodness through understanding and communication and tearing down those walls that she was talking about. How she was like, oh, well,
I mean, it just makes sense. But instead it had to be a big, bad, stupid, bad guy that she has to fight at the end. Like, when basically she's searching for Ares the whole time and she thinks it's Danny Houston.
Right.
He's the guy that's working with Dr. Poison, who we will talk about. And she kills him and thinks, okay, I did it. And no, the fighting is still going on. And Chris Pine kind of gives an okay speech about, like, there's bad in all of us.
Sure.
Ares is in all of us. Like, it's not one thing. And I was like, oh, fabulous. She's going to learn this lesson that it's by each person that you help. And then that'll spread and that'll spread and that'll spread. And there is no big bad guy to fight. I mean, I was like excited for that to be the ending. And then it was like, oh no, David Thewlis is going to show up and he's going to be like a big stupid god. And then they're going to fight and it's going to be stupid. And they fight for like 20 minutes and then it's going to be stupid.
it was really stupid, wasn't it?
I was like, man. I was like, so close to being like,
Because like up until that point, I had like really been pretty into this movie.
Yeah.
I was like really enjoying myself.
That's when it really just...
And then for me, I was just like, oh, I'm so bored with this.
And then on the other turn is, okay, if there has to be an Ares, a big bad Ares, why couldn't it be Dr. Poison? Why couldn't it be another woman?
I thought that too. And then that goes back to her upbringing where she's like, well, it couldn't have been a woman that was evil. But no, it was.
She never would have suspected Dr. Poison because it's a woman. Oh, I think that would have been... And she was, you know, an outcast because her beauty had been destroyed. And that, you know, and there's all that going on. And so it would have been better.
That would have been better.
Okay, can we talk about Scott, whatever, the sharpshooter guy, who literally had no point.
No point.
Didn't
do anything.
Didn't fulfill his arc.
Nope.
Didn't get over his PTSD.
Nope.
Or whatever it was at all. I really wish he had been replaced by like a badass nurse. And then it ties in because in the original TV show, her alter ego, Diana Prince, is a nurse, is an army nurse, and she named herself after a nurse that she admired. Instead, we have Chris Pine naming her, and it's like, I just.
Diana, Princess of the
Prince, Diana Prince.
Chris Pine gets to like martyr himself as a hero at the end by flying the plane full of mustard gas into the air.
Here's my issue.
Yeah.
With Chris Pine.
Well, why didn't Wonder Woman just do it since she's invincible anyway?
Well, she did say that. She's like, whatever it is, just let me do it. And he was like, no, I'm going to do it myself anyway.
He said, I have to save today, you save tomorrow. And I'm like, but she's invincible. She can just go do it.
Yeah.
And then she could fight David Thewlis.
Well, also, like...
In her invisible plane. I was really waiting for her invisible plane to show up. It did not.
He could have done a million things, though, too. Yeah. Like, he could have just set a bomb to go off in the plane and parachuted down.
I mean, I'll say this. I did not think they were going to kill him. And I was like, well, that was like a choice.
I was like, thank God they did. I just, honestly, I could not handle him. It was just this obnoxious, sleazy, like...
That's what I mean.
He was trying to be the hero, and I was just like, get out of here. I just want to see more of her.
He was like the lead. That's why it was written weird.
It was like she was his sidekick.
Right?
Rather than him being her sidekick.
Exactly.
She should have just used him to find information. And then been like, no. I really like you. Don't go kill yourself. We'll figure out a way. Or like, oh, you have a smart thing because you're a little spy man. Like, you go figure out a way to blow this thing up while I kill this god. The thing that annoyed me was that he never was willing to work together with her.
No, he was never like, tell me about how you guys fight or how you do this or teach me how to fight. Because he was just like punch, punch, punch. There was no give and take. It was all, this is how I do things.
You can't do things that way.
You don't know about anything.
Stop mansplaining. It was, he drove me crazy.
The whole movie was mansplaining. Can we talk about their, like, not sex scenes? They definitely fucked, right?
Oh, they definitely fucked.
Rex?
They created demigod is what I was really wondering.
Oh my god, if at the end she had been like, oh.
I was waiting for it. I was like, ooh, who's Wonder Woman's demigod
She
son?
gets to go back to the island and, like, you know, gestate or whatever. I really needed her to go back to the island. The whole movie, I was like thirsty for that.
And then
island.
if it was a demigod baby boy, and then it was like he grows up, that'd be really weird because he would grow up like the son of all of these women, but also then would fuck all of the women to create more babies.
No, he wouldn't fuck them. He would just be their baby boy. And he would be like really awesome and like was surrounded by women and he would be like fabulous. Oh my god, that whole island was just boots and leather and headdresses and capes. And I just lived.
I mistakenly waited till the end to see if there was a thing and there wasn't. But I'm pretty glad about it because found out that they shot all of that stuff in Italy.
Ooh.
Want to find out where and spend a good 5 to 8 years there?
Training to be a fabulous Amazonian?
Yes.
Where you can swing on cliffs.
If I could spend 5 years with Robin Wright on that island,
oh my god,
eating some fish and like olive oil, I'm here for it.
Fish, olive oil, wine.
Maybe Tilda
bread.
comes.
Maybe Tilda comes and hangs out and like makes all of our outfits or picks them out at least. Mm-hmm. Can Charlize come?
Sure.
Can Rachel Weisz come?
All of them.
Kate Winslet.
Yes.
Just populate the island full of fabulous, fabulous women.
Here for
Kate Blanchett's there too.
Oh, of course.
She's the queen. Let's be real.
Oh, I feel like Kate Winslet would... Nope, Helen Mirren's the queen. So it was really fun watching the Italian credits because they are the most Italian names you've ever imagined.
Francesco.
It was like
Giuseppe.
Garabini, Scoopalapidu. It was like the best. Scoopalapidu is not an Italian name.
No, I'm disappointed in you. You speak Italian, and yet you could not come up with an Italian name for your life. Can we talk about Robin Wright's lesbian lover? That definitely needed to be played up. Okay, so they're all fighting, and they've never seen a gun before. And that was very dramatic. That was the only part when I was like almost crying because it was like they were so overtaken by this thing they couldn't even imagine. You know, like that made me really sad or whatever. But then they kicked ass anyway because they're fabulous. And then Robin Wright gets killed and I was like, no! And then like one of the Amazonians runs up and is like, no! And it's really sad about it. It wasn't her mom or her sister.
Right.
And it wasn't Diana. It was like definitely her lesbian lover. Like that was what was happening. And I kind of needed that to be explored. I was like, yeah.
I love that.
I want to know about this situation.
Well, men were required for procreation, but not for pleasure.
This movie was real, like, jokey. But then it would be, like, horrific mustard gas violence. And I just couldn't get a grasp on it. Another dick joke. Oh my god, that man's face just melted. Like, I am upset about this.
I would have liked more of the fun parts and more of, like, the Amazonian parts and more of the fabulous parts and less of, like, the typical crazy... over-the-top superhero dumb action movie shit.
Yeah.
I'm so over that, and I was so refreshed by this for the first 2/3.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm 100% on board for a fully on the island movie.
I would have loved that.
Chris Pine has to recover. She's his nurse, a little Florence Nightingale situation. Oh, the nurse tie-in. I like it. And then they're searching for him because Chris Pine has something really, really valuable. That notebook, whoever, whatever.
Sure.
Some MacGuffin.
Well, that also like went
Who
so
cares?
quickly.
A lot happened today. I found out I was a demigod. I met my first man. My aunt got killed. I had to fulfill my destiny, run away with this guy. Like, it was like, I'm leaving my island, I'm disobeying my mom. Like, I was like, this was a big day.
That's true.
And she was just kind of fine with it. She always looked flawless. Like, everyone else was like crying, muddy, mustard gas, dirt, messes, and she's just like,
It's because she's a god.
I know, she's just like, new lip gloss. What's up? My hair looks fabulous.
I really did love her, though.
Oh, she did everything she needed to do with what she was given. I just think the way it was written could have been more interesting. It wasn't bad. It was totally entertaining. I'm excited to see more of these movies.
I'm really glad that it did well.
Her fighting style was really cool.
Yes.
Like, every time the music started to play, I was like, yes, I'm into this.
Yes.
I just wish it had been a little bit more thought-provoking and something.
Well, because you know why.
Why it wasn't?
Yeah.
Because it's a man's world?
Well, it was written
Oh, by Zack Snyder.
Was it really?
He was one of the writers.
I mean, I was gonna say it was written by men.
Oh, yes.
But the fact that it was written by Zack Snyder really answers a lot of questions.
I'm pretty sure. So he definitely wrote that jacuzzi scene, right? When Chris Pine
yes.
walked out and was like, "Oh my."
He's just obsessed with
dick. Allegedly. We didn't really talk about Patty Jenkins. I think there are some things. She's the director.
You're right.
She directed Monster. There's a lot of things in here that if a man had directed this, wouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited that this is going to open the door for a lot of other female directors and all of it.
And this is the first, I think this is the first huge blockbuster movie like this that was directed by a woman.
Twilight, but yes.
Action superhero movie, then at least.
I'm just saying.
Sure. And all of that is such nonsense bullshit, you know? And so it's like, fuck all of you. I'm so glad that this happened.
Oh, yeah.
And it grossed $100 million opening
weekend.
weekend.
I mean, I saw it when I went to see it. We had to wait out in line.
Yeah.
It was sold out. It was sold out. It was sold out. There was all these people wearing Wonder Woman costumes. Like, I'm here. I just wish it had a better message.
I feel you.
And I hope the next one keeps pushing.
I agree.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Just keep pushing.
Yep.
And
Cheers
then,
to that.
Yeah.
To the uphill battle ahead.
Yeah, you know.